Welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and this, my friends, this is the Thunder Show, aka the internet's most passionate wine program. Diana Ross in the background, and the secret packs are here. It's a beautiful Monday, and we're not too far away from April's Fool's Day, and if you want to get on board, please do. So Mott, actually, wait a minute, Michelle, stubbing for a monster. Link it up. We're going to have these packs available for you. We're almost out already, and I'm actually taping this ahead of time. I hope we're not totally out, but anyway, the 2-pack and the 1-pack are different wines. They're 3 different wines. I saw some controversy on the forums. As a matter of fact, Michelle, Mott, whoever, link that up too. If you don't know what the Wine Library TV forums are, you need to get a part of that action. I should absolutely admit that I did drink a little bit root beer before today's show, and let's just rock it out and feeling real good. The other day I talked about no good books out there. Actually, a little while ago. It's been like 3 months now, but there was no good wine and food books, and I've stumbled on one, and I got to give it a shout out. So, Mott, Michelle, whoever, link this up. Little Amazon action. What to drink with what you eat. A lot of gold stickers here. They must have done a lot of good things. A lot of you asked me, what book should I read with food and wine pairings? And Andrew and Karen killed it with this book. It is solid. It is the way to go. I am pretty darn impressed. As you know, I barely ever talk about stuff on other people's stuff on the Thunder Show, but they did such a killer job with this that we've got to throw it out there. It rocks. It really does. I should full disclose, they did write an article in the Washington Post about Wine Library TV. I just figured I'd throw that out there, but you know, I think you guys know me, so you know what's up there. Just a killer book. Plus, everybody should be writing about Wine Library TV. Michelle, am I wrong? I mean, if you're watching right now and you're media, hook it up. Add a little thunder. Spread a little thunder. And I'm about to spread a little bit of thunder on an area that I think belongs in the top 3 categories with Portugal, and I haven't decided who else I'm going to put, but I'm going to make it official. I'm putting Portugal and Canada in the top 3 hot, up-and-coming areas of the world for vino over the next 36 months. And I'm speaking specifically now of wines from Lake Erie, which is the southernmost part of Canada. These are almost in the U.S. They're very interesting wines from Pelee Island, as a matter of fact. And so these are really Pelee Island winery, interesting wines from the Ontario region. We were sent these wines, so thank you, because we're looking for more Canadian wines because you can't get them here locally, which is a real pisser. Pelee Islands are really interesting. These grapes in this region have been planted since the 1850s, and here's where it gets really interesting. Its latitude is at the exact same level as Mendocino, California. So, very interesting tale, some interesting wines, inexpensive, 11, 10, 11, good price points. Canada needs to be respected. The Canadian contingency, big ups to you guys. I think there's some really up-and-coming, exciting products, and I want to do a lot more of them on the Thunder Show, because that's how we roll, and I hope this show rocks. I have no idea. I hate doing shows that are 3 from the same winery, but they sent them. That's what we've been saying. We'll do them, and that's how we're going to roll. So, Michelle, get that little finger ready to zoomy zoom. We're going to roll in on the first wine, which is the Gewürztraminer Reserve 2006, 12.5% alcohol content, hand-picked grapes, as they claim. $11 US, which is always a great number, and that is because it's sported by your New York Jets quarterback, Kellen Clemens, who is going to have a breakout year this year. I'm just saying. And let's get into this wine. First, we're going to pour out a little bit of home to the homies that have not been able to ever drink a Canadian wine before. That is a big mistake. Expand that palate, baby. So let's give this wine a little bit of a sniffy sniff. You know, classic Gewürztraminer smell. I love the spiciness that are coming from. I get a little bit of lychee fruit on the nose, which is quite interesting. Quince. The essence of quince on this nose. Some new term I haven't been using much, but I've been eating a lot of quince paste lately, trying to really develop that flavor profile. That's a little fun fact, Vaniacs. If you want to develop and expand your palate, you've got to go out and try the foods. I've noticed that quince was used in a lot of wine terms. It's not something I have been familiar with or eaten a whole lot of. Michelle, you eat a quince? Have you ever had quince paste? See? She said no, not a very, very common thing that a lot of people are eating, so, except for you're a big cheese lover, it's a great little, you know, combo action there. So I've been developing that, and this is the first wine in 3 months I've been eating this quince, looking for it. Finally, here it is, coming through, and you know, it's a good job done. You know, it feels like if you do push-ups and you start getting muscles, you feel good about it. I, on the other hand, feel good when I eat exotic stuff and finally pick up smell and pick up the notes. So I'm excited about that. Really interesting nose. Let's give it a whirl. Good balance, good structure. A little awkward on the mid palate though. Falls apart, gets a little funky funk. Gewürztraminers from the Alsace are so razor sharp, you know. Take that switchblade and cut it, cut your tongue. This wine does not bring that acidity level, and that bothers me. It's got some honeysuckle, and some cantaloupe on the mid palate and flavor profile and the finish. There's a great transition there. That's its strength, the mid palate, which is also often hollow in most everyday wines. What I don't like about the fact is the beginning and the end, which is awkward. It's a very backwards wine. Usually the hollow mid palate is the telltale sign of a wine under 15 bucks. This is a wine that I think is very simplistic. The overall beginning flavor profile and the finish are just kind of meh, you know, just very average. And so I'm going to give this wine a pretty big pass. I think it's boring, and that's pretty much, you know, when I talk about wine, I love to talk about them as people. You know, I talk about charisma and character, you know, all these things that are not really typical wine stuff, but just how they translate and speak to me. Maybe they speak to you in a different way. Maybe they're speaking Chinese, right? It can speak any way it wants. This is speaking to me like, I'm boring, you don't want to know me, and see you later. I'm going to give this wine a 78. I think it's really kind of lame, and I'm going to give it a pass. Now, I'm just going to jump in, everybody's going to say, well, why don't you give it a 50 or a 40? It's got some characteristics that are solid, you know, I'm just kind of disappointed in it. Actually, on paper, I kind of had a gut feeling this was going to be the best wine, so maybe I'm disappointed in myself for preconceiving. You know, Michelle, it's like, when you're mad at yourself, it usually hurts more than any other way. Do you know what I mean? That's what's going on for me right now. I was like swearing that was going to be the wine that did something. 2005 Shiraz. Nice little picture of the old school, probably from the 1850s. See if you can zoom in on that. Again, this Shiraz is kind of interesting. They started doing it in 2000. What else they got here? Nothing too much. 10 bones, and they got their phone number here. 13% alcohol, pretty low for a Shiraz. So we're going to see what's going on there. Again, I'm really excited about Canada, and I'm really leaning towards going up there this year pretty soon. Actually, I think we even have a date booked, but nobody knows about it. Ping! Sniffy sniff! I'm going to have to turn down Diana. I'm going to turn down Diana because we got to really talk about this. We got to talk about this. This is the greenest Shiraz we've ever had on the Thunder Show. This is the greenest. I'm like to the point where I'm like, wait a minute, that's the Cab Franc, right? This wine comes across extremely green, extremely vegetal, almost like Vegemite from Australia if you've ever had that. It's not corked or anything like that. It's just extremely green. Let me give it a whirl. A lot of you are not going to like this wine. Let's start with that. It's like Jolly Green Giant. Ho, ho, ho. It's like green beans exploding in your mouth with like, remember Gobstoppers? Like you suck on it and then be like the next color underneath. That's how this wine kind of reminiscence to me. Reminiscence, what does that mean? That's how this wine kind of relates to me. It's almost like a cherry. It starts with a cherry because there's a little cherry thing going on there, right? And you start eating it and whoa, why is there a pea inside my cherry? That's what's going on with this wine. Awkward. I am very much towards the green side. You know I like the veggies. So it's speaking to me a little bit. I like this on its awkwardness. But that's not going to make me love it. Do you kind of know what, you know, you want to be friends with this wine. You don't want to date this wine. Are you getting the picture that I'm talking to? And that's for me. The majority of people are going to hate this wine and make fun of it and put spitballs in her hair. So I'm not sure. To me, it's a very awkward wine. It's weird. I've not had many Shiraz wines like this. Even the old world, you know, for me, when it was the early 90s, I was drinking 80 Rhone wines when they were kind of unparkerized or over-the-top explosive. They still weren't even this green from the old country of France. This is pretty green. I think they kind of lost control of this wine. I can't really get too excited about this wine. I'm going to score this wine 82 points, and that's just because I like its charm of being a little bit different. I just can't see a lot of people going crazy on this, so that's that. Let's move on. Cab Franc from Pelee Island, 13.5 alcohol content. This wine rolls in $11 US. Occasionally referred to as the blue-tailed tank because of the characteristic of blue tail and the young 5-length skin line. Very interesting. Wild stuff going on in this. I need to go to this island. Sounds kind of cool. But what did I say? Anyway, let's get into this vino. $11 US. Sniffy sniff. This wine's that smelled like the Cab Franc. This smells like something I've never had before. My God, this is awkward at best. I mean, really the best way I can explain this is if you're a big-time garage sailor like I've been, especially circa 1998 to 2001 when me and AJ used to roll deep garage sailing, and sometimes they would have house sales, and like sometimes the lady lived there for like 87 years, because ladies always outlive men, you know, and they would have a house sale, and you'd roll up in there, and it's like the house hasn't been touched in 40 years, and you swear you're going to find something that you can sell on eBay for $1 billion, but it's just fun to explore, and you get up to the attic, because me and AJ were younger guys, and we could climb all the way up there, because really the only other big-time garage sailors were like 170 years old. One-eyed Willie, I'm going to get you next time, man. You stole that baseball glove from me. Anyway, what's interesting is you get these very awkward smells in attics. Like, awkward. You know, Back to the Future, 1950s. There's something about this wine, and I think it's the mothball. All I can say is this wine smells like an attic that you're going through in a house sale looking for a treasure. And for me, that's a very nice smell because it brings back tremendous memories of spending lots of hours with my brother driving at 4 o'clock in the morning, as he would say, the moon would wink at you. You know, so, but this is not appealing for a wine. It's very awkward. It smells like rotten orange peels as well. Struggling. Let's give it a whirl. It feels like you put a G.I. Joe in the microwave and melted it down and then licked it, and I'm not even kidding. Plasticky, metally, awkward. This is just not good. I'm going to score this wine 66 points. That's a major pass, Michelle. You haven't been taping enough to realize how bad we just burned this wine. We burned this wine. I mean, so the fact of the matter is this. I mean, you know, this is a tremendous opportunity. I never look at something as a negative. I always look at it as an opportunity to kind of talk to you guys about things that you can do in the wine world that can really help you explore and learn. This is not going to take me away from telling you that I honestly think that Canadian wines are the next great haven, explosive area from the world. An opportunity to really make an impact in the global wine market. I really believe what's going on in Canada. Now, I've tasted these 3 wines, and let's be honest with you, this was a pretty disappointing show. But this doesn't get to me to a place where I feel like these wines don't have the potential. For example, quick little story. I was just in the south of France, and a guy said, Chilean wines are much better than Argentinian wines. That was a really lame French accent. What was I doing there? Anyway, and I was like, well, that's kind of a tough statement. First of all, it's just a tough statement globally, but, you know, I'm always big on, like, individuality instead of global, but work with it and stay within its parameters. I'm like, you think? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, well, how many Chilean and Argentinian wines have you had? And this guy's deep in the heart of the Rhone Valley. And he's like, 10. I'm like, 10? And I pretty much clowned his face off. That's how I do it, Michelle. I was tough, I'm sorry. I mean, I ripped him. I said, come on, dude, 10? I mean, Ian and I were together, and I was like, we taste hundreds a month, and we wouldn't make those. I mean, you know, you've got to keep expanding. And so, where am I going? Because I'm veering a little bit, right? Just because you've had 3 or 4 Chardonnays, or 2 or 3 dessert wines, or 5 dry rosés, or 9 Bordeaux, or a Pomerol, a Pauillac, or a Chateau de Pape, or a wine from Spain, or Portugal, or South Africa, or South America, New Zealand, Central Otago Pinot that you didn't like. 1, 2, 3, 4 wines, 10, 11, 12 wines, heck, 40 wines is not enough, not 40, but 20 is not enough to make a concrete statement of where your palate is with the area. I've had some really exciting and interesting Canadian wines lately, and I'm really excited about what's going on in that Ontario level. These wines, you know, I mean, it's just what it is. But you just can't make your global thought process, just like with people. Oh, I don't like people with brown, curly hair. You can't do that. You've got to step up and expand your palate, try different things, and try different things multiple times. That's how you will change it. And that's going to lead into my question of the day. What is the wine that you've had recently, the most recent wine you've had, that really changed your mindset about a producer or the category, or the area, the vintage, anything. A wine that changed your mindset about the place, the terroir, the vintage it represented. Because you, with a little bit of me, we're changing the wine world, whether Michelle likes it or not.